Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Sphons CCW Live Show, brought to you by, of course, Sphons CCW, This Net Distribution, and the Minerva Sportsmans Club. Classes. What do we got? We got one 517 that isn't full right at the moment, right? Yep. And then we have a. Do you remember the date for the one in June that we threw up? Gonna check the date.
I'll go grab it.
Gonna check the date. We've been putting classes up pretty much as fast as we can get them filled, and they're filling pretty quick. We do have basic rifle and carbine coming up the 30th of May. Rifle instructor the 31st. Like I said, 17th is going to be concealed carry. 614 is going to be concealed carry class, and then April. Let me find it here.
614 for the one in June.
614 for the one in June, and then is it the 18th, 19th? That's defensive pistol.
May.
May.
Pistol fundamentals.
Looking a little behind this morning. Forgot to write my list. Well, actually this evening. Sorry, guys. It's been a 13-and-a-half-hour day. While he gets that schedule, if you're out there on YouTube or Facebook, drop a comment, say hi. If we don't know you guys are out there, then we can't kind of cater to your wants and needs. So you got suggestions of any type, let us know. SphonsCCW@gmail.com. Our website, you can hit us up on the website, hit us up on Facebook.
The 6th of June is also a basic pistol, too.
Okay,
CCW.
so 6th of June, CCW. So that's the class schedule coming up. July 11th, personal protection in the home. If you don't have a concealed carry, that's kind of an intermediate CCW class. And then 12th is personal protection in the home instructor.
Mm-hmm.
So that's as far as we're running out at the moment, except for 1st of August is metallic cartridge reloading. So we are going to do metallic cartridge reloading on the 1st of August. If you want to get into reloading, that's kind of the class to do it. We did hear some stuff about National Train the Teachers Day, which we are participating in. Ended up being the 1st of August. I think what we're going to do is run a week for National Train the Teachers Day, where they can sign up and put them in the class of their choice in which they want to do. That way, they're not held down to one day. We kind of want to do some cool stuff with this program. If you don't know what National Train the Teachers Day is, essentially it's we volunteer our time and materials to train teachers, whether you're a public school teacher, private school teacher, daycare teacher. We volunteer our time and materials to do that. So we're going to put something cool on this year. It was supposed to be in June. It got shoved off. They moved it to August over top of one of our other classes. So we're going to do something, and we just haven't figured out the details yet. We'll get that figured out. We'll get it posted up. If you know any teachers looking for firearm training, we in talks with a first aid guy and a couple other things in the works. So we may have some cool stuff coming up. Outside of that, I think that pretty much covers it for the class schedule. If you want to get signed up, once again, link is in the video description. Everything that we cover tonight, the links are in the video description. So hit them up when you're all done watching the show. You can go through these articles all on your own and kind of make up your mind on them. Range and carry tip.
First one we got here is a range tip. Shoot long range. I'm not talking, 1,000-yard long range. No, get your pistol out and shoot, 15 yards, 20 yards, 25 yards. If you've got the space, stretch it out to 50 yards.
Mm-hmm.
First off, you would be amazed at where you have to aim with your pistol, because now you're actually starting to aim and starting to get some of the arc of that bullet, and amazed that you might actually have to aim lower than if you were point blank range to get good center mass hits. And when you're shooting that long range, you start getting 15, 20, 25, 30, 40 yards out, still try and go for that, pinpoint accuracy. It's tough to do. It really works your fundamentals. It's a huge fundamental growing game with shooting long range, because any little variation with your trigger control, sight alignment, your sight picture, all those, just the basic fundamentals. Little imperfections will throw your shots way off and cause you to miss the target. And one of the big ones I say to do this, and we say to do this, is because it stresses your fundamentals so much.
Yep.
That it's so hard to be able to make those shots, that you build your fundamentals, and then as you work your way closer back in, you're more accurate closer back in. And if somebody's taking a shot at you, with a long gun, or shooting at you from 25, 30, 40 yards out, it's happened before. It's not the most common. Statistically, most defensive situations happen almost within touching distance, but it's happened before, and where you might have to take a longer range shot. Even look at that, the church shooting last year in Texas.
Yeah.
The guy,
Well, look at the Las Vegas scenario with that guy.
Yeah,
up in the window with bump stock. I mean, that was they laser measured that. It was like 50 to 75 yards. So a good pistol shot with some cover, you could have hit that.
Yeah, and without ever doing it before, you have no idea. And we've always said, you're responsible for every round that comes out of the end of that handgun, till it lays to rest on the ground. So if you can make that longer range shot and you get to a situation where you need to, you'll have confidence to be able to do so. Plus, it'll help your short game.
The thing I like about stretching the distance out with my pistol is you cannot get lazy with trigger control, with your grip, with any of your fundamentals. You just can't get off the game even a little bit, or it shows on the paper. Then it will tell you absolutely if you have gotten kind of a little lazy with your fundamentals. A lot of times if we're shooting a short game a lot inside of 10, 15, 20 feet, especially if we're using an IPSC target or something with a pretty big bullseye, we develop this false sense of confidence that it kind of fools you into thinking that you're kind of a better shot than you are. And as soon as you stretch this distance out, or you go back to accuracy shooting, it will show you that, hey, you're slapping the trigger too hard. You're pulling your finger off. Your grip is crappy. Sights aren't lined up. Pistols bouncing around. Just all kinds of things that are going to really show up when you switch back and forth between accuracy and longer distance pistol shooting and kind of defensive shooting inside of 20, 21 feet. And the thing about long range pistol shooting, and we call this long range, it's not really long range. I mean, 35 yards at a target with a pistol really isn't. It's from rifle perspective, it's not that long range. But with a 4-inch barrel or a 3-inch barrel, that's a pretty good distance.
You start wheeling your subcompact, your Mossberg MC1 out, or a G2C Taurus, or even my 9mm, even
Something.
getting down into a lot of people them Glock 42s and 43s and stuff like that.
You lob one 35 yards with a Glock 43 and hit your 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, you're doing pretty good.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And that's we do this not because we want to take shots at that range. We do this because we want our accuracy to develop. We want our fundamentals solid. We want to hold ourselves to a higher standard during training. That way, when the stress is on and you can't develop that right stance, you can't get the perfect grip that you want, and things are breaking down in a defensive situation, your abilities are high enough so that you can still make effective shots on target, without sending errant rounds in the crowd or something like that.
Yeah. Like you said, don't in training, hold yourself to that, that extreme high standard. So when things, maybe you fell down, maybe the ground's slippery, you're trying to get, you're trying to move for cover, you've got, loved ones around you, you're trying to guide them out of the way, but you're still trying to, somebody's shooting at you, you're still trying to get rounds on target. You've held yourself to this high, so when you get kind of knocked down by your situation a little bit, you're just that much better.
Yeah. And if anybody's ever taken one of our classes, that you kind of realize that we're held to a little bit higher accuracy standard than what is supposedly required, I guess, by the industry standard. And we do that because we want you folks out there to be successful when you go on in your lives. So
yeah, absolutely.
We do that. And it's not really there to, a higher accuracy standard isn't there to tear anybody down or hurt anybody's feelings or ruin their confidence or anything like that. It's there to show you, and you should be doing this to yourself too. It's there to show you, hey, where do I need to work and where am I proficient? Folks like to do their own drills and practice the things that they enjoy and they're good at.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is, you need to be practicing the stuff that you're not really that good at, and the stuff you really don't like to do, because it is hard, and that's how you get better, not by doing the stuff that you are really good at.
Yeah, and breaking yourself out of that. When people go and they go, they train and they do, especially they do a lot of the things that they like to do, they're good at, and that's confidence building. And I'm not saying you want to stop doing that, because hey, maybe start your range session off with it, the stuff you like to do and you're good at. Get yourself pumped up, and build your confidence for that range day, and work on those things, and then cycle in those things that you're not good at.
Absolutely.
And just kind of switch back and forth.
Certainly.
Between doing those.
Yep. So what do you got for a carry tip today?
Get them dirty and get them weathered.
Everything.
Your magazines, your guns,
gear, shoes, self, hands,
all of it. Even as far as you could kind of take us as I guess we kind of could use this also as a second part of a range tip today too. Is get out there and use your stuff, especially if it's muddy and cruddy and crappy out, because you're carrying every day. Look at the weather we've had in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, well, two weeks ago.
We've had summer, spring, fall, winter, summer, fall, winter.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, what season are we going to have today? And if you're carrying every one of those days, now you have all of those those things happening that completely change your carry. We've talked about, training, with all your gear on, but if it's 80 if it's 30 degrees when I leave for work at 7 o'clock in the morning or 6:30 in the morning, and I come home and it's 70 degrees. I started with a coat, left with, and came back without one.
Yeah, you might want to think about that. Well, look at 2 weeks ago, me and Corey spent all weekend in the pouring down rain shooting.
Yeah.
And there was guys there. They're like, every time they're coming in from outside, they're wiping the gun down with an oilcloth and different things like that. And I'm standing it up in a rack, and water pouring out of the thing. We got done Friday night, Saturday night. I fogged a thing in the truck and went home and got there the next morning, and everybody's talking about, hey, did you clean your gun last night and do this and do that? And I'm like, no. I want to know when it's going to malfunction. Like if I can't rely on this thing to be functional when it's crappy weather, then I can't rely on it at all, because we got crappy weather 60% of the time in the state of Ohio.
Yeah, and that kind of an advantage we have. We're doing a lot of all these training classes, putting on training classes and going to training classes, stuff like that. We get to see all of the different things and can say, can a lot of times talk to the person, hey, what do you do to, for any maintenance or anything on that particular brand handgun? Oh, I do this and do this. Oh yeah, well, it's raining outside. It's going to mess up on you. And, so we get to see that, and we also get to, so we do a lot of that. Let's get them dirty. Let's flop them around. On top of that, you're carrying this thing every day. So, I know me, like if I got it on my hip, I might be out mowing the grass, and, last year we had to, tear Dad's pistol apart, tear the striker and everything out of it and clean grass out of it. Cause he was starting to have problems. Well, cutting the grass all that much time down to the Sportsman's Club, got grass in it. Got grass in it. And
pocket lint, mud,
crud. You want to know if I get a little bit of that in there, is it going to be all right? Or do I have a particular handgun that maybe if it gets just a little bit dirty or gets a little, blade of grass in it or something like that, it's going to go down. Well, maybe I might want to change what I'm carrying.
Yeah. Change what I'm carrying and leave that one for range, or
you
wear it in a little more.
You need to know these things and
see what it's all about.
Yeah.
All right. So we got a surveillance video here for you tonight. We're going to try and show this on the small screen here so we can kind of check it out. Got this from the Reno Gazette-Journal. There was a bunch of ads and stuff with it. So we'll try and deal with that, but we're going to hit play on this. Essentially, this is a person who caught a kidnapping on tape on their, looks like a doorbell camera. And this particular guy here is trying to kidnap this particular person, or ends up kidnapping them, I think, right?
Yeah, I believe so, because on the heading it said that the police department was looking for information on these two people. So
problems with this thing here. What I kind of want to point out, the door, and this kind of goes into some of the stuff that we learn in personal protection in the home. This alcove is only visible from one direction, so the perpetrator is half protected.
Yeah. Unless you were off in just that one little sliver, and somebody was off there. Of course, it's at night, so it looks like there's some street lights. But unless somebody else was over in just that one little corner, everything that happens in this entire thing
is protected.
Other than the fact that it just so happened to be a doorbell camera on
it looks like the victim of this was probably underage by quite a bit. It's scary to think when you got kids at home that somebody would do this. looks like probably she lived there, couldn't get in the door quick enough to get away from this individual. And a quick tip with security cameras, I know people like to have security cameras, and it looks like this place actually did have security cameras. But if you're going to have a protected doorway or alcove like that, rather than putting the security camera in the doorbell or something like that, get one that is really obvious. If you have a doorbell camera and you want to make it obvious, get a fake security camera or 2 or 3 and hang them up.
Yeah.
That way it's painfully obvious for a perpetrator coming to that doorway that they are on camera. People behave on camera when they think that nobody's watching them. This is the kind of stuff that happens.
Even buy the ones I've seen them online before. They make the fake ones that take like a AAA. So they
with the LED.
So they have a red LED like the old camcorders used to have, so that if they're in a dark space that maybe somebody might not spot the camera, but that red glowing light, everybody equates that to there's a camcorder on.
Yep.
So
absolutely. Not a whole lot this young person could do against this attacker. Unfortunately, she is outmatched. She's outsized. Probably approaching the right age to learn some hand-to-hand defensive techniques. The other issue that I have with this is she was alone. I really bothers me when I see kids walking alone. I'd rather them be in a group, 3, 4, 5 of them. And I know that there's people out there who say, oh, well, the group of kids, they cause trouble. Well, you know what? I would rather have them TP my house than this any day of the week. So I'd rather have the kids in a group, and I tell mine that if you're going somewhere, have a friend. It's not a good idea to walk alone. So, just some things to think about. This is going to be a hard story to follow. We have no idea what the outcome of this is or anything like that. And it's super scary, but just a few things probably could have prevented this. And I really think one of the big ones is obvious security system.
The other thing too is when I was reviewing the video and stuff like that, had with the the sound on it, almost sounded like maybe she had tried knocking on the door.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was if she lives there, if she didn't
maybe she didn't have a friend's house.
If either it was a friend's house or she didn't have a set of keys. Maybe she doesn't have a set of keys. Who knows? If a young teenage girl, maybe she snuck out, didn't take a set of keys with her. If that that's not being able to let yourself in your own door is kind of a scary thing. You're at the mercy of banging on a door,
right? I don't think she was really that loud though either, was she?
No, she wasn't that loud.
And we teach that in defensive pistol and personal protection in the home, and a lot of concealed carry classes is witnesses only see what they're forced to see or what grabs their attention.
Yeah. So, be loud, yell, let everybody in the neighborhood know what's going on. You get yourself into a situation like that.
Yeah, she should have woke up the entire neighborhood screaming and hollering, yelling. And the other part that could have played into that was, she took a pretty brutal kick. It kind of gave up the fight after that. So if she'd have been more of a pain in the ass trying to get her in the car, that maybe she would have gotten away, and maybe she was really not in her right senses. But just some stuff for you guys out there to really take a look at, especially if you got kids. Protected doorways in an apartment building or house. Everybody's got a back door.
Yeah.
Something like that. That's just a few simple things that don't cost a whole lot of money. Really can avoid this kind of stuff. So let's go back onto the news here. What we got here. And we talked about this last few classes, and this is a good article. If you get a few minutes to kind of go over this article, watch the video. This is something a lot of people don't think about. UFC fighter Anthony Smith describes an encounter with an intruder. My entire computer room is covered in blood. And he goes on to say he was forced to take down an intruder in his Nebraska home. What he described as a terrifying encounter. This is a UFC fighter telling you this is a terrifying encounter. Woke him at 4 a.m., could hear a man in the house screaming. Smith said the whole ordeal lasted more than 5 minutes. So somebody went 5 minutes with a UFC fighter in his own home.
And the UFC fighter is telling the news that he was terrified.
Yeah. Typically, people don't break in a house in the middle of the night for any good reason. He said, I'm expecting to hear gunshots or he's going to stab me, like he's got something. Smith, 31, said he took an intruder out in the family's computer room. My entire computer room's covered in blood. The UFC lightweight title contender. This guy's a title contender. Went into fight ready to die, he said. The man took every punch he threw at him. No normal human is able to fight like that, Smith said. I am by no means the baddest dude on the planet, but he's a regular Joe, and I had a hard time dealing with him. This is the point that I want to make out of this entire article. A title contender, lightweight UFC fighter put everything he had into a regular dude, either hopped up on something or had a massive adrenaline dump, and the fight lasted for 5 minutes in something you would never consider would last that long against somebody who fights for a living, first off.
And is very good at it.
And is very good at it.
We're talking, I'm sure you guys know, if you're watching this show, UFC, these guys, they kick each other, they punch each other, they choke each other, they bounce each other off a cage, so.
And this guy says he took every single one of them and kept fighting me. This dude, Luke Haberman, was arrested in the incident, charged with first-degree criminal trespass. Smith lives with his wife, mother-in-law, and 3 daughters. None of them were injured. It's unclear when Smith will fight again. He's scheduled to fight the 25th against Glover, but they postponed it because of the pandemic. And that's the thing that I really want people to understand is everybody is kind of more overconfident in their abilities. And then you have something like this go on. And we don't know if the intruder was on something, whether he was, we don't really know much about him, whether it was severely bigger than this UFC fella. But the thing is, you can't automatically expect the first shot your attacker to go down, the first punch your attacker to go down. You can't automatically expect that you're going to have enough physical ability to take somebody like that down and get in a hand-to-hand combat situation with them and make it through without injury, and be capable of making good fighting decisions in essentially what is a life or death street fight.
Well, and I kind of want to bring it up, like, as far as the training aspect. Roughly on average, 2% or less of people, continue their training after a CCW. And we think everybody should, you should continue your training, and continue to train. Here's a situation where this guy, Anthony Smith, has spent years upon years upon years training to fight
for essentially this fight
with professional trainers for essentially this fight, to fight with his fists and feet. And he was terrified of it. So now you take that situation where you've gone and you've taken your basic CCW. all right, cool. Now I'm, got the legalities out of the way. I shot a little bit in that class. Now I don't do any more training. I get into a situation where it's the most terrifying situation of my life. And I didn't spend years building my training regimen so that in the most terrifying situation, I was able to adapt, overcome, and have a positive outcome for myself and for my family.
Yeah.
I didn't do that extra training.
Can you imagine if this guy had been, maybe a first-year fighter or just a regular Joe on the street without any skills?
And I guess you kind of see that in last week's video where the husband came out to the wife's getting dragged around by her purse because she's got a bunch of cash in there.
Yeah.
And he tries fighting with a couple of guys. Looks to be a couple of street thugs that I'm sure grew up
probably
fist fighting all their friends. I'm sure in the street if they're a bunch of running around with gangs and thugs and stuff, probably fist fighting in the streets. This guy, a regular dude going up against the guy that isn't a professional fighter, but they just fight for fun.
Well, they lost that one.
They lost that one, and it looked at the end of the video. They cut it out. Looks to be they were both getting run over by a car.
Yeah.
So that's why we keep telling people and push them to you got to get training. You got to get training. You need to move that bar up in your training regimen so that when that most terrible thing happens, you have the skills to be able to deal with that.
You're prepared. It's essentially preparedness.
Yes.
All right. So out of the goofy state of California, we had a judge block the California ammunition background check bill, essentially. And then the Ninth Circuit ordered a stay on the injunction as of 4/25/2020. So a judge threw out the background check requirement, and then the Ninth Circuit ordered a stay on the injunction, so they have to go back to the background checks. So this is a convoluted mess. And, I would imagine that hopefully a ton of people got ammo orders in and got some ammo. But Thursday's ruling by a federal court judge in a case challenging California's in-person background check requirement for ammunition purchases received a preliminary injunction blocking this blatant violation of citizens' rights. Well, what background check system are they going to use? Because you cannot run ammunition on a next check for the gun background check system. So they have to have some kind of in-state background check system. So it doesn't make any sense. If there isn't a mechanism to run the background check, how do they sell ammunition at all? And I think that's probably the end goal of this, right? I mean, that makes sense to me. Well, this doesn't make sense to me, but the end goal, looking at it from their eyes, so it opened the door for California ammunition purchasers to jump online and buy bulk ammo and have it shipped straight to their homes, just like the rest of the country outside of a few states. And then, of course, in the article it goes in and says the gun grabbers received a requested stay of this injunction. There's usually a brief window, possibly a week or less, maybe hours, during which California residents can order and still receive their ammunition purchases at their homes. As we saw in a similar case last year when gun magazines were legal for purchase for a brief few days in April, May 2019, pent-up demand from California gun owners drove retailers to work night and day to get gun magazine orders filled in the brief window of opportunity before the courts shut it back down. And I would imagine this is probably why we're seeing a little bit of ammo shortage. There's probably a ton of ammo that got ordered. April 23rd, Roger Benitez enjoined California from enforcing the state law that required background checks and banned internet sales of ammo. Palmetto State Armory applauds the court injunction. Palmetto State Armory is now accepting orders for ammo from California. What else is in here? The news broke about a federal judge blocking California's restrictive ammo sales law. Our team of experts immediately began looking into the situation. As soon as we were satisfied it was once again legal to ship ammo directly to California residents, we began accepting and processing ammo orders from them. We're happy to be able to support California gun owners and firearms enthusiasts by shipping ammo directly to them, said Roy Hill, public relations specialist at brownells.com. And it goes on to give you a bunch more information. The whole problem with this thing was that just a few days later, the Ninth Circuit took it away again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just ridiculous. Hopefully, at some point in time, the folks out in California who are responsible for this come to their senses. I don't think it's going to be anytime soon, but we can always hope. And we got another ridiculous one tonight. In a court ruling, AR-15s are now machine guns in Nevada. Apparently they can't really figure it out. But so what we're talking about is bump fire stock or bump stock type devices. The ATF refers to them. Why they matter beyond their suddenly being designated as machine guns or their uncompensated taking. Too extensively for some who didn't want to die on the bump stock hill when we had other things to worry about. I warned of the semi-auto problem of any semi-automatic firearm capable of being equipped with a bump stock device magically being designated a machine because it is easily converted with a simple stock. And it looks like that is what they have tried to do. The family of a victim of the Mandalay Bay shooting made that very argument in Nevada State Court, seeking to sue several firearm manufacturers with a claim that they had lost protection of Lawful Commerce and Arms Act defense by unlawfully manufacturing and selling machine guns because AR-15s are so easily converted with bump stock devices. One question on this paragraph, why are they suing the manufacturer of the firearm in which somebody put an accessory on now? Why aren't they suing the ATF for not saying that the accessory did not meet the definition of the law if they changed their mind?
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? So if they said it was right to begin with and all of a sudden now it is wrong, why would they not sue the ATF for saying, oh, well, you allowed it if it was wrong? You're the ones that made a mistake.
Yeah.
Remington didn't sell that with that device.
No.
They had no idea they even existed when they manufactured that rifle. So it's like buying a car in 1976 and then 50 years later, the car blows up and you're going to go back and sue Chrysler Motor Corporation or Fiat or GM or whoever because the car blew up.
Well, I mean,
it doesn't make any sense.
Well, I mean, if I had I was rolling around in my 1968 Lincoln and in 1982 I get in a car accident in it and I'm going to sue Ford Motor Company for not putting a seatbelt in it when it wasn't legally required then.
Well, exactly. So you can just poke holes in these arguments with just a sharp stick. It doesn't even really take a pencil.
You might be able to poke holes with a dowel rod.
Yeah, right? You can probably poke holes in it with a blunt stick. Defendants in Parsons versus Colt et al. Asked federal district court to dismiss the lawsuit. The case will now move forward in Nevada state courts. Gordon used a set of lies regarding the design and history of the AR platform to rationalize his finding that the manufacturer somehow knew they were making arms that could easily be converted into machine guns, despite the fact that even the ATF claimed otherwise. Well, there you go. Thank you. Until they changed their pseudo minds in late 2017 and didn't make it retroactively official until 2019. From Gordon's ruling on the wrongful death portion of the defense's motion to dismiss, the PLCAA permits actions in which a manufacturer or seller of qualified product knowingly violated a state or federal statute applicable to the sale or marketing of their product. The violation was a proximate cause for the harm for which relief is sought. They didn't violate any laws. They didn't manufacture it with the accessory. Even if they can prove that the accessory turned it into a machine gun, Colt did not manufacture the gun with the accessory. So,
well, and here's the thing: he's if you read that, he's got the definition of a machine gun in there.
Yeah.
And by design, a bump stock, you are actually manually pulling the trigger every time.
Every shot.
The rifle is just reciprocating in the stock, and when it comes forward, your finger
bumps it.
Bumps on the bang switch.
Well, the other thing is
hooks the bang switch.
It is not actually like these bump stocks. They didn't just magically appear, right? It has been possible to bump fire a semi-automatic rifle of any kind for a long time. I mean, there was GIs in World War II who figured out how to make their Garans full auto with a string and a paperclip.
Yeah. And you used to be able to watch old videos of guys doing it with looping rubber bands around their arm. Years and years ago, it would come out. It was in Soldier of Fortune magazine. They had if anybody remembers the butterfly triggers from paintball guns, they had butterfly triggers for like Tech 9s and stuff like that. That essentially you moved your fingers like this.
Yeah.
And you moving your fingers like this, it was just a cam system that it just rocked the trigger like this, and it just kept pulling a trigger, and it sounded like full auto fire. It was just extremely high semi-automatic fire.
Yeah, it was just an extremely high rate of fire. So the Nevada's definition of machine gun mirrors federal definition, which doesn't have anything to do with bump stocks. In the eyes of the federal court judge under Nevada law, any semi-auto can be equipped with a bump stock is already a machine gun. If you live in Nevada, you might as well go all out and install drop-in auto steers, lightning links, or whatever, because it's the same penalty. Don't do that. Author says I always wanted a giggle switch for your Glock. Go for it. The penalty is the same as Gordon sees it. Don't do that. Stay within the law. If you this kind of stuff bothers you, then advocate and write your representatives and do it legally and get rid of the ridiculousness of some of these laws on the right side of the law, and you're going to be far better off.
Or get your tax stamp, get an NFA, spend a bunch of money, legally buy a machine gun.
Yeah, you can do that. Cleveland 19. Woman and a man dead after a drive-by shooter opens fire at a car carrying 5 people, including 2 children. The Cleveland Division of Police confirmed a homicide investigation is underway after a drive-by shooter opened fire on a Nissan Pathfinder carrying 5 people, including 2 kids. The children escaped with their lives. However, the 2 people in the front seats did not, according to police. Sergeant Jennifer Siaka?
Sure.
I don't know. Whatever that name is. Said officers responded to 3100 block of West 31st Street for a shooting around 12:30 a.m. on Sunday. When officers arrived, they found 5 people ages 1 through 29 in a Nissan Pathfinder. The report said the 29-year-old man was found dead with a gunshot wound to the head. The 37-year-old woman was also found dead in one of the front seats with multiple gunshot wounds, according to the sergeant. The sergeant said the 29-year-old woman said a 29-year-old woman with a head wound, possibly a gunshot wound, was brought to the Metro Health where she remains confined. So possibly another victim. They said a 5-year-old boy and a 1-year-old boy were also in the car, but they were not injured. Both children were brought to Metro Health for evaluation. Members of the homicide unit and Cuyahoga County Medical Examiner's Office responded to the scene. The sergeant preliminary information indicates that someone in a dark-colored SUV opened fire on the Nissan and drove off. Report confirmed no arrests have been made. Anyone with information should call 216-623-5464. Anonymous information can be provided via Crime Stoppers. Can't talk tonight either. Yeah, 37 years old. When you see stuff like this, it leads me to believe that it is narcotics were involved at some point, and either one, uh, both or all of these parties were involved with some type of narcotics, or the party that done the shooting is involved with narcotics and mistakenly thought that the innocent victim was their adversary in some kind of narcotics dealing. And that's, when you boil it down, that's really where it normally ends up when it comes to this kind of stuff. It's normally gang related and narcotics related.
Yeah.
So once again, keep your head on a swivel. Active shooter dead at Tulsa dispensary. Concealed carrier saves the day. How many times are we going to go through this? This is what, the fourth or fifth time this year? Woman opened fire in a parking lot of this cannabis dispensary in suburban Tulsa. Man with a concealed carry permit stopped her. Why was the dude with the gun at the pot store?
I don't know yet.
A woman opened fire on people outside a cannabis dispensary in suburban Tulsa. She was killed with a man with a concealed carry permit.
It's by 3 different churches.
Yeah. It's situated a few hundred yards from 3 different churches in the neighborhood north of Tulsa. Police responded to the report of a shooting at the address. Ashley Porter, 34, had reportedly argued with others in the parking lot. The store owner was in the parking lot conversing with a man in a pickup, which was situated behind the owner's vehicle. It made her angry that the pickup was blocking her access. Others were standing outside the store. The parking lot had plenty of room to get around the truck. Police say the video shows a verbal altercation. Porter remained in her vehicle and no one approached her vehicle. She drove away from the location only to return 3 minutes later. When she returned, she began shooting. She got a gun and fired at people standing outside the business. So maybe the guy with the gun was the owned the business. A man standing with a concealed carry permit saw her shoot, and he returned fire. She died of her gunshot wounds. No one else was apparently wounded, so her shots did not connect with anyone. Concealed carry permit holder was detained by the detective division for questioning and was subsequently released. We don't know if Porter had a concealed carry permit nor what weapons were used in the shooting. In 2017, Porter was convicted of reckless conduct with a firearm. So I would bet I got a hundo says she ain't got a concealed carry permit.
Yeah.
Or is even allowed to own a gun.
Yep.
So once again, we got a good guy with a gun stops a deranged bad person with a gun. Now we got a goofy one. There was a shooting in Canada, mass shooting. I don't have a lot of details on it because we've been working so much, busy with the store, busy with classes, but a breast implant deflects a bullet and saves a woman's life in Canada. Yeah, this is going to result in a lot of jokes, but I'll tell you what, this woman is alive, so I guarantee you she's happy about this. It was a silicone breast implant. You can see the bullet track right there. You can see that there was a little blood on there, but and the other thing is, you're responsible for your shot till it comes to rest. Bullets hit things, and they do crazy stuff when they hit things that aren't intended. A bullet becomes remarkably unpredictable once it strikes an object. Factors such as material density, angle, inflict a myriad of tiny, unseen potential outcomes. While bullet makers program bullets to expand and penetrate extremely predictably, plain physics often only go so far. A silicone breast implant deflected a bullet from ripping into vital organs. The 30-year-old woman shot in Toronto in 2018 survived the incident. So this is an older incident. This isn't the recent one. The implant caused a change in trajectory of the bullet. A bullet wound entry was on the left breast, but the rib fracture was on the right side. The bullet entered the skin on the left side first and then ricocheted across her sternum to the right breast and broke her rib on the right side. According to the study, the case represents the first known instance of a breast implant deflecting a bullet and saving a life. Details around the shooting remain unclear. The woman reportedly felt heat and pain in her chest while walking down the street. She walked to a local hospital to the disbelief of hospital staff. She was talking. The trauma team was in disbelief at how well she was. On the left side is the heart and lungs. If the bullet would have gone into the chest, she would have had much more serious, possibly life-threatening injuries. We'd consider this the ultimate gel test, but don't count on a boob job saving your life. However, Wonder Hoodie and Bulletproof Everyone jackets provide much more formidable body armor. I don't like the plug on this particular body armor because I've always wondered about this Wonder Hoodie because it has no mass. I don't know if you guys have ever seen it, but it's just a shirt that's made out of a bullet-resistant material, and you still have trauma behind it. In any event, yeah, this woman is alive because of a breast implant. So at least some good news on this, and it looks like a small caliber went through here. I don't know. It's really hard to tell what caliber it was from that. So goody for her. All right, enough of the news. What do we got for a product of the week? I'm sitting here looking at it.
Well, we
Looks
got
like pretty cool stuff. HSGI.
one of our suppliers just kind of started getting this stuff in. HSGI, the high-speed gear. Got a couple different kinds here. We got this one here is their newest. It's a pistol mag taco. This one's all plastic, the sides, the face, everything. This one's kind of their original one. It's like a canvas with a plastic insert. Got little bungee straps. You can cinch them down. They will hold. I've been using one of these pistol tacos, and I got a rifle taco too for several years now. I think I bought my first one. It was like maybe 2013. They're made in the USA. Lifetime warranty. From my understanding, I've never had to warranty mine, but from my understanding is you call HSGI and they send you another one. This one here has the little speed strip for Molly. That's the style that I have, is the speed strip. I also wear it on a belt too. You can loop it down through here on the Molly webbing on the back and get it set up so that it's not too loose on your belt. But you can also put it on a Molly belt or a some sort of a Molly rig, a pack, anything like that. Lightweight. They will hold a double stack magazine. I know they'll hold for certain, a full size 15 round 40 cal magazine. It'll also hold very well my single stack 1911 magazines.
Yeah.
So
they're adjustable on the bottom with these little bungee cords.
Little bungee straps.
You run the clip down if you want it tighter or looser. Your different size magazine. The bungee cords are really, really durable. I'm gonna open it so you can really rip on that thing. And
this one he's playing with, it's got the Molly speed strip, but it's a little bit of a different one. It's got this screw. You can bolt it back down to the magazine so that it fits.
They call this a U-mount. They call it a U-mount, so it gives you the Molly strip on the back, but it also gives you an extra Chicago screw so that if you want to belt mount it, then you put that screw in and turn it up there, and it becomes a belt mount.
Yeah, and the other one's
cool
got
idea.
Got a different. There's another style out there. It's got a little strap that comes up that it's primarily a belt mount, but it's got a snap that you can kind of undo the webbing they have on there, and it looks. I haven't tried one of them on Molly, but it looks like you would be able to do it just fine. I'm
going to try one on a belt and Molly both. So
these are. I think they're, phenomenal magazine pouches. Like I said, lifetime guarantee. Get them in a multitude of colors. OD green. This one's coyote. That's coyote black. Multicam.
A ton of colors.
You can even get these. We got a pretty good line of pistol pouches now, but you can get them for rifle pouches. I know the rifle pouches work for You can put AR mags, you can put AK mags, you
Mhm.
can even get them. You know, they'll take the you know, DPMS style, 308 mags.
Yep.
So you can, and you can even get them. I think with a bungee, you can get bungees from them. So if you wanted to
Hold
bungee
them in
top
there?
them,
I know that in the AR mags, their plastic line. I will tell you a little bit about their. I've tried some of their plastic line stuff, and I like it. The I run 20 round magazines in my AR, so the AR mag holders, the plastic ones are just a little bit shorter, so they make it more convenient to get a hold of a 20 round.
rounder.
What I will tell you about the plastic ones is they do seem to hold the magazine tighter. Um, and if you're using something like this for any type of situation where you're concerned about noise, the canvas ones are essentially silent, magazine in, magazine out. The plastic ones are not. They are, you noticeably hear the ticking as they come by the striations on the inside of it. So if hunting application or anything like that, maybe law enforcement, you're concerned about noise, then anything, of course, anything Kydex is going to be noisy.
Yeah.
But if you want something completely silent, go with the
canvas ones.
Canvas. The canvas works friggin' awesome. They just make an awesome product.
Yeah, this is a single pistol mag pouch. You can get double mag pouches. You can get one stacked. You can get double rifle stacked. The double rifle stacked ones, you need a substantial belt, and you get 2 loaded rifle magazines stacked out next to each other. They're make sure your belt's cinched up real good. But they've worked phenomenally. Like I said, I've had mine for years.
Yeah.
I'm glad we can start getting some of this stuff. $24.99.
Yeah.
It's
about the same money as pretty much any
other good quality mag pouch.
Mag
like
pouch.
I said, lifetime guarantee, made in the USA, lifetime guarantee. From what I've never had to deal with them, but I'll say it again. From what I've heard of their warranty processes, you call them, tell them it's broke, they send you another one.
Yeah.
So which is awesome.
I had a couple years on my mag pouches on my armor, and I'm not nice to my stuff. I got the plastic one recently this year, but the other ones, I no issues. I yet to break anything. So probably their warranty department's like the Maytag man. They're just kind of sitting around with nothing better to do. So if you ring them up, you get something immediately.
Yeah.
So all right, guys. Well, that's what we got. Everybody, thanks for stopping in, watching our show. If you have any comments, suggestions, you want to see something on the show, you find a video you want us to take a look at and kind of, decipher it, banner it back and forth with you on a Friday night, then we will do that. Send us something at sponsccw@gmail.com. Everybody, thanks for being out there tonight and spending your time with us. We really appreciate it. We like having you guys around. We like doing this show. So, everybody have a safe weekend. If you're signed up for class this weekend, we will see you this weekend. Otherwise, we're going to see you next Friday night, guys.